Hey guys, Maria Menounos here. Hope you tune into my show, Untold with Maria Menounos, this Thursday night at 8 on E!
You're tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hi, everyone. The League, yay!
Nope, I will not do that.
I love this theme song. Hello, everyone. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. We are here doing a recap of The League on FXX, excuse me. And I am Lauren Leonelli, and here with me I have the lovely...
Not happy,
George Hermoza.
Hermoza, it's with the Z.
Why are you not...
Because literally, probably minutes before we go on air, live, all over the world... My baseball arch nemesis, the San Francisco Giants, just won the World Series. Which apparently you're from.
I'm from San Francisco. I am technically not a Giants fan. I know. But my Facebook newsfeed is about to explode. I mean, I feel like my phone is vibrating as we speak.
Are your family's Giants fans at least?
Well, my brother and my dad are Oakland Raiders fans.
A Raider fan?
Oh, God, I think I just made him hate me.
I gotta go.
He proposed marriage to me like 2 seconds before he went on air.
You're
so
Hulk
up and down. You're so...
It's something you're gonna have to deal with me as a husband.
I can't... You guys try and keep track.
When it's good, it's gonna be great.
And when it's bad,
it's just gonna be hilarious.
Awful. You're
gonna have fun watching. I'm George Hermoza.
And yes, that is George. Jen the Jew is not with us tonight. She will be back next week. Unfortunately, we missed her, but your bipolar up and downs are kind of reminding me of our friend Lane on this episode.
Do you remember Lane or a little bit?
Season 6, episode 9, called Taco Standard Time. That's what we're recapping right now.
Which they meant to a lot, TST. So if we say TST throughout this episode, it means Taco Standard Time.
Which is what, 13 hours and 49 minutes, like ahead of whatever the standard time is, whether it's daylight savings time or not, because they
taco time.
So let's address this whole Taco Standard Time thing. So Taco, the reason why we know he is a little off is because he thinks he's meeting all the boys at the movies and they're not there. So we realize that Taco is not on. They're like, oh, dude, you forgot about daylight savings time. And then I thought, did you not think that part was so funny where they explain what daylight savings time is?
A little bit, yeah. Because I didn't know that. I didn't know it had something to do with the crops and the harvesting. I didn't know that.
Okay, well, if you think about it, daylight savings time is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like an archaic, weird. I mean, the days get longer and shorter naturally with the seasons, but then they explain how ridiculous it sounds. As they're explaining it to Taco.
I like how everybody gets so excited when it's the fall back and oh my God, I get an extra hour of sleep.
I know.
It's like one day a year.
And it's
really?
It's like
you've never slept in any other day of the year?
I know.
Oh,
but wait, that's when, okay, so you get an extra hour of sleep, and if you're out at the bars, it's like at midnight, it's back at 1, it's back at midnight.
That's why it's my favorite day of the year.
That's why it's great. I don't care about the extra hour of sleep. I care about a last call happening an hour later. Not to make myself sound like all I do is drink, but I'm just saying.
Don't you have a thing called Two Drunk Girls?
Two Drunk Girls. I mean, yeah.
On Instagram, on Vine, on YouTube.
Follow us. Holla.
I do. Trust me.
And also, while you're following Jen the Jew and I on twodrunkgirls.net and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, you can go onto iTunes and you can rate and comment AfterBuzz TV and the shows you're watching, like us here. And you can just, if you feel like rating us 5 stars, which we clearly deserve, then you should.
I'm not going to lie. I really like interacting with people that love the things that we do, whether it's the League.
You guys are watching this show. You're probably super fans like us. So let us know if you're super fans of what we're doing.
If you put on a comment, I'll probably respond to you on YouTube.
And you trust me, when George is in a good mood, when he's on the upswing, you want to be on the other end of that.
I'm a giver.
He's a giver.
I'm a giver.
So Taco Standard Time. Well, what happened next? So then they explain daylight savings time to him, and they're like, "Dude, you don't whatever." And then he comes back in and then tells everyone, "Okay, look,
No, he comes into the living room and everybody's like, dude, what are you guys doing awake?
Yeah, it's 5 in the morning.
5:30 in the morning. He's like, no, it's not. It's 9:30 at night. It's like, oh, well, you guys aren't on Taco Stand.
Yeah.
You guys aren't on TST.
And I like when Taco decides something, he just like commits to it fully.
I like the way that he just, in his world, everything is so like one-dimensional, which is funny, and I'm not.
And he always proves people, even though he's ridiculous, there's always a moment where you go, or is he though? Because like the daylight savings time explanation moment, you're like, yeah, that is pretty weird that we all do that. It doesn't really make sense. Like there's always like one enlightening moment with him.
And it's funny, even to like us fans watching it and being in the episode with everyone, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, that still makes sense for Taco.
And it's funny to learn lessons through Taco because he's so ridiculous. Yeah. That's what makes it so funny.
Kind of gives you like the other perspective, you know, like you have Ruxin's and Andre's, then you kind of like Taco, which is completely off, but it allows you to kind of think, you know, another direction, just kind of like, oh, well, an off-the-wall fourth dimension, apparently. You know, so
we love a little dose of Taco, a little splash of Taco, and he also calls it Taco Clock, like Taco O'Clock, which is funny. And then we see Taco at the end of the episode. We keep talking about throughout our season what we think Taco's going to do with this money that he got, and at the end of the episode with Lane, which we'll get to in a second, we see that he wants to give Lane what was it, like $40,000?
No, I think it was like $3,000 or $5,000 in investing, and then like $4 million in stock options.
Or it's like $40,000 because he doesn't have $4 million. He only has like $1 million.
Oh, yeah, you're
right. And that's when the episode all comes to an end because Lane is trying to, they think, kill himself in the car. We find out that when Taco meets him, that they end up just like hotboxing the car.
Well,
so
initially, Lane wanted to commit suicide.
So let's go back to Lane. Yeah. So we see Lane. Now, remind all of the super fans watching who Lane is.
Lane is the guy, I think he was either last season or the season before.
I think it was the season before.
The friend off, where he was kind of that annoying friend. I think Pete initially met him. And he was like, oh, I'm so annoyed by this guy Lane. All he does is talk. And you kind of got a glimpse of what he's about.
Totally clingy.
Early in the episode,
Totally clingy, coming on too strong.
So they were trying to friend off him.
Stage
so of
5
course,
clinger.
Typical how they treat Andre. It's like they pass off Lane to Andre while Pete kind of goes away. But it's funny because then in that episode, Andre ends up getting friend offed by Lane.
Yes.
So
because Andre always gets screwed.
Pretty much, yeah.
So Lane is back. He calls Pete. He needs his help. It's like it's almost like he's his sponsor or something.
Pretty much, yeah.
And Pete it's lunch and he needs to eat. And Lane can hear him eating on the other end of the phone, and it's like totally disturbed by the
little
fact.
things like that. It's like, can't you just put it on mute?
That's a good
what
call.
I do.
You know what? Is there? Oh, I guess you could do. But then the only problem with doing that, though, George, is that, you know, when you're talking to someone on the phone and you go, thank you. You do that. Right? So they know you're listening. Like, you see, you can't help it. Then when you do that when you're on mute, if you were to put me on mute, I'd be like, hello. I'd be telling a story, and then I'd be like, so anyway, and then, hello? Without your response.
So you're expecting the
Of
and if
course
you don't get the you're like, wait, is this person even listening?
And then it's even worse than just eating, because then you're accused of not listening.
You know what's funny is one time I was on the phone and I yawned. They were like, did you just yawn? I'm like, how did you know? Like, I know yawns are pretty contagious, but were
they like offended that you thought their conversation was boring?
Well, it was at work. So it was like they thought I was getting tired of me talking to them on the phone. And I was like,
oh. Yeah, maybe.
But I try to keep it in because I don't want to be like, but it was like a silent yawn, yet then I yawned.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did you know?
It's probably Big Brother.
And I was like, no, I'm not yawning.
Who would do that?
Yeah.
That was
I'm at work.
Driving by. I'm very awake right now. So he knows he's eating over the phone, Pete. He gets yelled at, and then we start to see how we get another dose of Lane. We get the introduction of his stage 5 clingy. And
he goes see Ruxin.
He goes to see Ruxin
at
too.
His office.
And he does the same sort of thing. And somehow, he's kind of like clingy and he wants to, hang out. And somehow he's tricking these guys into feeling very guilty. But he ends up somehow getting the Packers tickets from. How did he do that again?
He just kind of. I think he's a little sensitive, Lane.
Yeah.
So I think that Ruxin didn't want to hurt his feelings. So of course Ruxin is very sarcastic and very, very Ruxin-y.
I mean, that, by the way, let's go back to the speech where Ruxin had a monologue saying, yeah, what I really want to do is go to a game with you and talk about the Twinks and the Bears. Anyway, that monologue was amazing. Totally made me laugh. But yeah, he is sensitive. He still is sensitive, even though he's being
and
sarcastic.
Then he ends up taking the Packers tickets, which the Packers-Bears tickets.
Before Ruxin could even, like, stop him, he was sort of walking out with them, and which those are those moments where in TV shows like this you got to suspend your disbelief, because you'd be like, what are you doing, dude? I mean, give me the tickets back.
At the same time, I think we've all been in that situation where he's like, oh, you have tickets, so the friend is like, well, of course I'm going,
right?
So if you just said you can't go, then there's no point for me to not take the tickets.
So I'll take them because you can't go.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the moment where Lane gets up and walks out with the tickets is when most human beings would be like, whoa, dude, hold on. You can't take my tickets. Or if you're going to take them, pay for them, or you would say something. That's in the moments where you, like I said, you have to suspend your disbelief for the love of the story to let it all happen. But those are the moments where you're like, wait, come on, dude.
Cringe a little bit, but I was like, you know what? Just let it go, George.
Yeah.
Let it go.
But it was still believable because Ruxin, you could tell he's such a good actor, Nick Kroll, that the look on his face was like, dude, what do I do? What do I do? So he was stuck. So then we find out that poor Lane tries to commit suicide. Where did that call come? Somebody called somebody? Gosh, why am I having like no memory of this show right now?
I don't forget it. I think they just got it maybe like through the phone.
I think somebody called somebody, and they said anyway. So they go.
It was an email, I think.
Well, he emailed. So that's what we're getting to.
Afterwards.
He emailed. So Lane emailed Ruxin
like
and Pete
13-page suicide letter.
Suicide note, 13 pages, and with a title and everything. And the boys realize at this point, Pete and Ruxin, that they need to get their tickets back.
That's their first thought. It's like, wait, if he committed suicide or tried or
whatever.
They
said it was selfish, remember?
Where's the Packer tickets? You know, that I'm sure Ruxin paid for. You know, because I remember we went back to see how he got those tickets.
Yeah, we were wondering how Ruxin got the tickets, and they never really said.
And I would just say, because they didn't say anything like that, I would assume that he paid for it.
He just bought them. He has a good job. That's probably something he would do. So he bought the tickets, and he was excited, and he was trying to pick somebody to go with him. So all these guys are like vying for that seat. So Ruxin goes to the hospital to visit Lane, and the funny thing, I love that thing that Lane keeps doing, where Ruxin will reach for him, and he leans, Lane leans his head on Ruxin's hand, and you can just tell it just grosses him out. And then we decide from that point, I guess they want to meet. Lane wants to meet with Pete and Ruxin and talk about this letter that he wrote, because
like 13-page
that's
letter.
In the moment where he says, "Did you not get my email?" With my suicide.
It turns out it was in Ruxin's spam folder.
Oh yeah, he goes.
That was funny.
Goes to a special folder.
He even mentioned it's like, oh, anything from you always gets sent to a special folder as he opens up his phone into the spam folder.
Poor guy. And we see when the Lane meets Pete and Ruxin at the restaurant that they cannot wait for their food, and they start eating, and Lane, it just throws him over the edge.
I mean, little things like that too, where it's like,
do you think that's rude? Do you think it's rude to eat on the phone?
No.
I don't really
because
either.
I do it.
I do it, but I don't like when other people do it, because I happen to be very polite when I eat, and I don't make a lot of disgusting noises.
Like,
and I don't say everyone else won't do that. So I have friends that eat on the phone with me where I'm like, could you, the whole time.
Won't eat dinner on the phone, but I'll have like a snack.
I just ate dinner last night on the phone, but I was starving though.
Then why were you on the phone?
Because my friend called me, and I hadn't talked to him forever, and then she started telling me this crazy story about like this dude that we know that has a drug problem, and I couldn't be like, what? No, I gotta go.
I gotta finish this mac and cheese. I'll call you back.
It was just like Lane. I felt obligated, and I was like, well, I might as well. I mean, what's worse, hanging up in the middle of a story like that, or just eating on the phone? Yeah,
I agree. But the other part where you said where they go out to eat and then Lane joins them, and it's one of those things where Pete and Ruxin are eating, then Lane comes.
Well, if Lane, he just wants to talk about this letter, but they want to eat. They're at a restaurant. Why can't they eat?
And they already ordered their food.
So what's wrong? You're agreeing with me. Nothing's wrong with that.
I agree that there's nothing wrong with Lane getting. I mean, he's sensitive to begin with,
but clearly, yeah. And we already know the seed has been planted that he is like very peeved by food eating, and clearly it's about not having all the attention on him, but specifically if you decide to start eating food. So they get so close to the tickets. Then it also pisses Lane off that the boys did not read his suicide letter because he's kind of quizzing them and they don't know what he's talking about. So he gets up and goes, and I think then that's how we get back to him trying to kill himself again, which takes us back to Taco in the car hotboxing.
It's all a big
always
full circle.
Comes full circle, this show. And then the other little funny, storyline that was kind of weaving in and out this episode was the Milady.
Andre and Milady.
I
like that they kind of continued from a storyline from two weeks ago.
Exactly.
How Andre took Milady out to the grooming with Penny.
Yes.
Got her a tattoo. They continue.
Well, Milady's fur was back to normal this episode, remember?
I know it's something you were probably looking forward to. Just as far as continuity, and you love cats.
I love kitties.
Please do not put up a picture of a cat.
Josh, our engineer, you don't put up a picture of a cat.
Don't put up a picture.
No. George is asking you not to. Last time, our engineer Marissa put up a picture of Lil Bubs, who we love.
Who you love?
Wait.
I just think she's cute.
Okay.
I like
love
her.
her.
I like her.
Don't hate. Anyway, Lil Bubs has like 500,000 followers on Twitter. I mean, on Instagram. So.
Well, apparently, you got to pay to pet her. I never heard of a cat you have to pay to pet.
You don't have to. It goes to charity. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's true.
I bet you Andre would totally pay to pet her. Because she wouldn't bite like Milady. We find out Milady is abusive.
But do you think she's abusive to begin with? Do you think she's abusive because Andre put her through that?
Well, Andre is always on the flip side of abuse. So it's fitting that the cat would also abuse him and he would let it happen. I always make a joke about my cat, Mugwai. He is...
What's your cat's name?
Mugwai.
Mugwai.
Like from the Gremlins.
Oh, okay.
Gizmo. So Mugwai is very, very friendly with me, but when guests come over, he's not the most friendly. Like he'll hiss and act like a total not nice animal. And I always try and explain. And I found when Andre was doing that, it was the same thing. And I always make the joke that it's like I'm in an abusive relationship because I'm always like, I swear when it's just me and him, he's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's how Andre was.
Andre was like, it's not her fault. It took the catnip away too fast, and he's got all these scratches on him, and he admits that he's going to therapy. And they're like, oh my gosh, because there's always something he says that just like, they can basically just take him out with all of their jokes at this point. They've got to hold back.
And it kind of goes a little full circle because now you had Kevin, because he was on, without him knowing, Taco Standard Time.
Yes.
It turns out he was late to his job, to his meeting, to everything. He gets to his work. The boss is unhappy.
Yeah.
How did it go? I think he said that because his friend... I mean, I guess you can call Lane a friend.
He was searching for...
an excuse.
Kevin was searching for in the moment. He just started to kind of go through what happened that day. And he was like, well, my friend tried to commit suicide. And then he realized that the boss was like, what?
Yeah.
Playing into it. So he played into it. And the boss was like, you can go home. And then...
Andre comes to Kevin's office.
Yes.
Of course, because... he's got Milady. He's got scratches on his wrist and everything. So
and he's ready to give up.
Pretty much. And so essentially the boss walks in and that part of the conversation, I don't know what to do anymore. I just don't want to do it anymore. I don't feel the purpose of it.
And Mr. Lipscomb thinks that clearly that this is the friend that tried to commit suicide. And poor Andre. And also, this is all going back to the garbage time, which... explain in a second, George, because you can explain it better than me, but they all got a little garbage time this episode because Pete got sent home because the suicide letter that he didn't want to read, he gave to one of his, like an assistant or something to read, and they thought that it was his suicide letter. So his boss came in, who I love his boss. That actor is hilarious, and he came in and got to get sent home from work too because he was clearly suicidal and they didn't want him there. And then when the boss said, and I'm sorry if I've over-sexualized you, it happens all the time. That was a pretty funny moment. So anyway, the garbage time is...
it's just kind of in regular football games when it's obviously the game is over, but there's still a lot of time left to play. You just kind of let the clock roll, just kind of
put in
take a knee.
The third string quarterback.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's like... in fantasy football terms, you're playing your top players, and then they take them out because they don't matter anymore. It's like, oh, I need more points, but essentially garbage time, the time where it doesn't matter anymore. Just do whatever.
Right.
In the second stringer, the third stringer.
Right. So then we see poor Andre. They think that he's suicidal. He gets taken away by the doctor who helped Lane, who was
Homer Simpson.
Homer Simpson's voice.
Dan Castellaneta, who's a great actor to begin with.
Totally.
He's been in like Pursuit of Happiness.
Yep.
There's so many things.
Very recognizable.
But he's Homer Simpson.
I
love him as Homer Simpson, as Grandpa
Simpson. And you can hear in his voice that it's still Homer. It's just like not as exaggerated. But so they take poor Andre away to the suicide group meeting, which was so funny. And they're all talking about throwing away the judgment.
That was kind of one of my favorite parts, where they kind of kept saying, just throw away, no, that's a judgment, just grab it and throw it away. And then Andre takes 2 judgments. Like, what are you doing? I told you to just take 1, put it back. No, don't put it back in because it's already out. Just put it in your pocket, save it for later.
And they're totally jump on him when they find out. He tries to say, I'm not suicidal, but they think he's in denial. And then once they really figure out he's there because of his cat, then they all jump on him, pounce on him, if you will, for lack of a better word.
And I just like that they show the visual, everybody just kind of putting things back in, throwing away the judgment, and throwing away the name calling.
He threw away something, someone called him a name, and the guy next to him picked it up and put it back in. That was my favorite part of the whole episode. Just the look that guy gave when he put it back in. That's like, to me, always think like, actors who don't have a lot to say, but it's those moments where he literally just looked at him, put the judgment back in, and it was just like totally stuck out of my mind. It was like a second.
I like that because it's one of those moments where you blink and you miss it, but as those unspoken moments, and you just kind of look and you're like, those are the things that I appreciate when it comes to certain scenes and certain actors.
And this show has a ton of that, along with like joke on top of joke on top of joke. It's always really great acting. You can tell there's some improv happening. That's why this show is always good. It seems like, as an outsider, you'd be watching a show about a fantasy football league. Like, what could they possibly be talking about come season 6?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like there's never enough. The episodes are jam-packed with greatness.
Yeah, I mean, there was one, even they kind of related to real life situations, and I didn't really notice it until the end. But earlier when we mentioned when Andre came to Kevin's office, he had a video of an elevator incident. Immediately, I thought, Jay-Z or Beyonce's sister, that was my first initial thought, But then you had he kind of teased it, but we didn't get to watch it as a viewer.
And I was hoping they were going to show it, which they did at the end of that episode.
Yeah, what they did. So you have Andre, here's my iPad, show it, then they got interrupted. Whatever. Fast forward to later in the episode, Kevin walks in as the commissioner. Remind you, he's the commissioner of the league. He walks in, he says, I got to show you this video. It's this, it's that, but it has Andre, so it's going to be hilarious, They show the cat attacking Andre.
After the therapy session.
And then he ends up knocked out. So you have the elevator thing, people walking by.
The cat walks over Andre and he's laying there half out of the elevator.
So switch it over to real life situation. Anybody who knows football, or maybe even in general news, Ray Rice.
Yep.
He was running back for the Baltimore Ravens. Very similar situation.
But domestic
nothing
abuse.
to make it fun of. Nothing funny about domestic violence. But I think that's
why they made it with the cat, and it wasn't a very obvious comparison, but reading between the lines.
But I think it was more so not that act of domestic violence, but the aftermath, because you had the commissioner of the NFL saying, "I never got the video. Someone else got the video." This and that. So if you notice, a lot of things on the show, they were like, Kevin was like, "Oh, I have to show you this video. I don't want anything to happen because."
And he also said, I didn't have it for that long. Like there was all this accusatory time lapse happening, and that was an interesting. I did not put 2 and 2 together on that, but I think that's interesting. And then you also brought up a good point too, because you watch more football than I. But you said that they made a reference about something happening in the football game that they were watching that was only 2 weeks ago in real time. So these episodes are filmed within weeks of being aired.
Yeah, 10 days ago, there was a guy that was traded from one team to the New York Jets, and they referenced it. I always thought that they filmed everything in the beginning of the season, and then they just kind of...
As far as we're aware, that comment means that they film in these episodes
at most 10 days ago,
which is
kind of cool. I like that it's kind of keeping up with the real time.
Maybe because it's FXX, they don't have to go with the standard
Either that or maybe the budget isn't all that big, so maybe they just got to rush things out.
Who knows? But I like that it's very current.
Yeah, I like that too. Whenever they have a current reference, I'm like, oh, at least I know that they are trying to keep up with everything that's going on in real life.
They're keeping up. And the episode ends with the tickets being given back, but to Pete and to Taco. And poor Ruxin gets screwed over. I guess Andre was off the hook this episode a little bit.
A little bit. But I mean, I kind of did feel a little bit sorry for Andre. Just because I know he's usually the brunt of all the jokes, but it was a little too much where I was like, I kind of feel bad for Andre. He's kind of ambushed. He's got, the cat problems. Or if you want to go to there, you want to say the pee problem, but, I don't want to say that word.
Yeah.
We got a lady.
I'm not offended by it, but maybe other people are.
He's got a problem with the pussy.
And he does. Cat.
Yes.
See?
Yeah.
We always do this every episode, so really quick before we start to kind of wrap up, do you have a favorite quote?
I liked it in the beginning where they reference Pete eating. And then Lane calls. He's like, what am I supposed to do? I had my lunch boner up. I just can't put it away. And they started referencing the lunch vinegar strokes. I thought that part was funny.
Really funny. You did laugh out loud. I don't do that. I've never in my life, this is something you should all know, I have never written or said LOL in my life.
You know what's funny? Me neither.
I mean, I just said it out loud, but I never I don't say it like LOL.
So what do you text when something's funny?
Ha 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 ha.
But it sounds so mocking.
Ha
ha ha ha. See, I usually
no. It's not mocking. If you say something funny and I go ha ha ha.
How many ha's?
If it's really funny, I'll do like lines all the way down.
I just keep it at 2 ha's.
Well, that's mocking. That's definitely patronizing.
But I don't want to, because I want to get into what I thought was funny about whatever they just sent.
That's true. But anyway, I don't like LOL.
I just said that because I knew that.
My favorite quote was when it was so simple. It was when Taco said, "It's taco o'clock." It just was funny to me. I just think Taco's hilarious. And we're glad Ruxin's back. Yay!
Yeah, I do like. Hopefully, he doesn't get sent back to Korea again.
I know.
But Leah, AFTERBUZZ predictions.
Oh yeah, actually, we'll get to those right now. We'll do AFTERBUZZ predictions right now. And then
AFTERBUZZ predictions.
AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
He tried. It was close. Well, go ahead because you're just bursting with this prediction.
I think Pete's finally going to have another girl.
Oh, yay! A kitty.
What did I tell you?
Thanks, Josh. That guy is very cute. It looks a lot like my cat. I'll show you all a picture of my cat.
Happy Halloween.
Aww.
See, that's more of a
look at that. I don't know if you can see him, but he's very, very cute. That was cute.
He's very cute.
Very cute. Okay, what's your crazy prediction that you just cannot hold in any longer?
I think Pete's gonna have another girlfriend, hopefully, because he didn't
have a girlfriend this episode.
Yeah, he didn't have with the last one either.
So then my prediction was wrong.
Yeah, all our predictions. You stole my prediction.
That's right.
That one episode 2 weeks ago.
Stole it, or you just didn't have one and then tried to say that I stole yours.
Pretty much. I saw you wrote it down. I was like, oh, I'm going to steal. Oh, no, she said it first.
Dang. So you think he's going to have a girlfriend?
He's going to have another girlfriend.
Okay.
Taco's going to come up with something crazy again, like he always does. Something new. Like, I don't think it's going to continue off something previous.
Not the Taco standard
completely new, yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. Hopefully Ruxin's back again.
I am going to say that I think that Lane is not going away. I don't know if it's going to be this episode, next episode, or like maybe the season finale, but he's just too good to not use again.
They did open up a lot of things so he can.
And he's been on before. So yeah, they left it open-ended. My prediction is he's back. I don't know when, but sometime in the next, how many episodes do we have left?
Like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I would love to see at some point some kind of interaction with Lane and Rafi.
Yes.
Because you know that's
I had to think about that for a second. Like, how is that going to work? That would be hilarious.
I think that'd be hilarious.
Maybe they would. Okay. I'm going to piggyback on that and say if they're in the same episode together, they might have a little thing.
Yeah, because you had earlier Lane kind of mentioned, did this thing where like he goes to like places and he finds gay people?
Well, I thought he was kind of alluding to the fact that he was gay, but maybe not. But and Rafi kind of does sometimes say like
he has
sexually directed comments towards men. Neither one of them
he's had experience. There was that one episode years ago, I think it was second season, where him and Russell were like caught in like Andre's car.
Right. I think I would tend to say they're both very sexually free. So maybe they'll have a little thing or there will be an allusion to it. If that happens, I think
just based on both guys' characters, I think
it would be
put them
hilarious.
Together, I think that'd be a good dynamic.
Hilarious. Even better if they were boyfriends. That's what I think. Okay, well, thank you guys for watching and for listening.
Not that I don't follow you on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook.
I'm getting there. Okay. Please make sure you tune in next week for our next wrap up. And if you somebody's laughing, I don't know if it's at me or not, probably because I'm hilarious. If you would like to follow us all on social media, you can follow me at Lauren Leonelli on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Vine, and my website.
I can be found at Twitter and Instagram at Hermoza. Can you say Hermoza? Hermosa. G. Hermosa.
I like it. And if you would like to follow Two Drunk Girls, Jen the Jew will be back next week. You can follow us at twodrunkgirls.net.
That's right. I'm going to be at Home Depot in about 10 minutes if you want to come meet me there.
Awesome. And congratulations to the San Francisco Giants for winning the World Series. We will see you guys next week.
Go Dodgers.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.